What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is Landscaping to the Point. We don't have a intro music. No, we don't. I mean, we used to, and YouTube told us not to put it on there no more. But welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure to have everybody on the show. I don't know about you. What's going on with you, JC? Welcome back to the show. This is our first show in 2026. So we are live. We're live everywhere, hopefully. What's going on with you, JC?
Ready to kick off this year, man. 2026. Happy New Year's to everybody. I know it's been a little while since we've been on the podcast, but I hope that you didn't think we were gone for good. We're here to stay.
Yeah, we're here. I mean, I don't plan on going nowhere. I mean, it's a new year, definitely. It's new year, so there's going to be some new goals. That's literally the topic today. But I'm not going nowhere. I've done some changing of some things. So if you don't know, maybe you do if you follow me on Instagram or not. But I've been doing push-ups for over, I would say it's probably been about 2 months since I started. I started right before Thanksgiving, so almost 2 months. I've been doing push-ups every day on top of my daily workouts. So trying to get a little bit healthier. So I think and a little bit stronger. Who knows? Maybe I can eventually bench press. I was talking to Don from one of our friends from Canada, and he said that he's almost up to 250. He's almost up to benching 250. And I said, Don, you got me beat. I said, I don't bench press, but maybe eventually I'll get that far. And he's like, dude, you probably bench press more than me. Like, come on. And I'm like, I've never bench pressed in a long time. So, who knows? Who knows? So
Don getting swole?
Yeah, he is. He sent me a picture and he looks pretty good. So he's getting better at it. And I mean, he's been working out for 3 years now. So, I mean, that's awesome that he's doing that. And I think that it always helps us out, especially us in our industry, because I feel like this time of the year, even, during that slow time, we're all like, what do we do? What do you do? So, but it's something that like I started in August. So it's like, you got to get into it ahead of time. So that way, when you're already in that time, you're already ready to go. Cause I feel like if you start now and you try to keep it through the summer, you're going to be like, nah, I can't do it. Cause like, I'm getting busy. I can't do this stuff. So, I don't know. What do you think, JC? I mean, you're a man of mystery. I know you can just work out for 5 minutes and just lose 20 pounds. So
I used to be able to do that. I used to have like the world's best cardio, and now like I go up three stairs, not 3 flights of stairs, 3 stairs, and I'm huffing and puffing.
I doubt that. I feel like you're fine when you get up to like 10 feet, probably 10 stories. You're good.
You're giving me way too much credit. But to your point, I think you kind of unlocked the secret on New Year's resolutions, because if you start it before the new year, then like you could like maybe fail a few times and then get right back into it, but you kind of get a head start before the new year starts, and that way you don't get disappointed when if you don't commit to it one of the days. But yeah, you've been doing good, man. I've been seeing the Instagram posts and the stories and the challenges and stuff like that. So yeah, not a lot of people could say that after 11 days. Most people quit like within a couple days into the new year. They say most resolutions quit, don't last.
I'll tell you what, like I was told at our gym, I go to the gym every day, like I said, since August. And I was talking to the guy, one of the workers there, and he said, usually January 1st, it just gets busy. So going there every morning, usually I get out there about 5 o'clock every morning. So it's kind of different, but usually by the time I leave, it starts to get crowded. So there was only one day out of this whole 11 days that it's been like overpacked with people that I've never seen. So literally, and I haven't seen nobody. I mean, there's been like probably like maybe 10 people that have been there new, but like that one day there was probably like maybe 20, 30 people new, and then they dropped off. So from what I heard, Friday was like usually the day they say that a lot of people quit their resolutions on being healthy, literally within like 9 days, I think it is. So literally it's surprising that, if there are guys out there that are after this 11 days right now and still doing it, I commend you, dude. Like keep at it. Like it's it's the best thing you can do is just come every day, be consistent about it. Even if you don't feel like it, like there's days like I don't feel like it. Like this morning, I didn't feel like it, but I had to get up and go for it. I had to go do it. My dad's the same way. My dad's been doing it for years, and it helps him because he gets hurt and he got to move those muscles to keep him moving. So, you got to get up and do it, and just so you get out there and just do it, and don't, even if you can't do a full set, if you're doing weights, if you can't do a full set, that's good. You tried, you did your best that day, come back harder than tomorrow and just keep at it. So I think that's the best thing you guys got to do. So, yeah. So,
yeah.
JC, are you going to go work out later? No.
I mean, I wasn't planning on it, bro, but but I mean,
I'm calling you out.
Okay.
No,
no. I like that. I like that encouragement because I wasn't planning on doing it. But like the thing is with me, it's not about the workout. To me, it's like I don't like the cold. I don't like being outside, and it's tough because I actually like to do stuff outside. Like I like to run outside. I like to, or I used to. But the wintertime is tough for me to start that. I don't want to go to a gym and walk a track or get on the treadmill and stuff like that. I'd rather do that type of workout. But I think I'm going to do more of that this year once the weather gets a little better. Even just for your mind, man, when you just go for a walk and put on a podcast like ours, Landscaping, and just walk around and, get a chance to look at the scenery. Like I remember one time, or a couple of times, I started walking in my own neighborhood, and I've lived here for 10 years. But there's stuff that you see when you're walking that you don't see when you drive,
right?
And then just getting to know your neighborhood, just walking along, you get to notice a lot more things that you would normally just drive by and mindless driving until you get to your house. So there's a lot of cool things, to kind of take in when it comes to that.
Oh, I think there is. I mean, there's a lot of things, and if you go to a gym, I feel like you gain people that are just like you, like-minded, just like when we're in the green industry, we always meet each other that are like-minded and you have the same goals. And I think when you're in the gym, you meet people there that are the same way. They want to be there to work out. They want to be there to be healthy. Some of these people are been there for years, and that, they're there to help you out too. They're willing to give you a hand, if you need a hand or if you need pointers on something, they're willing to give you pointers. It's kind of funny because literally we just went to, I don't know if you guys have it, Fresh Time. We have a Fresh Time. It's literally like a health store, literally what it is. It has some stuff that's not healthy, but 90% of it is all healthy, grass-fed, vegan, all that kind of stuff. So, really, I'm in the store and I'm picking out power bars because I like to eat a certain power bar, and they had them there, and there was a couple that I've never tried, so I wanted to try them out. So I'm literally picking them up, and literally the guy that's like down the end of the thing, he turned around and he's like, "Hey, do you work at my gym? Work out at my gym?" And I turned and I said, "Yeah, I know who you are. I see you walking around." He's like, "Yeah, I figured I knew you." And it's not just because of the hair. It's because they see you working out there. Like everybody says it's the hair. It's not the hair. Like you see me with my hat on, you'll know who I am half the time. So I think it's just you gain people that like a community. This is what, like he said, he goes, we have our own little community there. We call it the 5 o'clock club. It's like everybody that comes in at 5 o'clock is there for 2 hours and they know each other. And it's like, you get to know more people there, and you gain friendships, and like I said, you gain some tips and stuff. And, like he was telling me yesterday, he goes, I watch you work out. And he goes, I don't lift because I blew out my rotator cuffs years ago. But he goes, the best thing, he goes, you want to help your hamstring, walk backward on the treadmill at an incline. He goes, that's the best thing you can do. And he goes, it'll be best for you. So I said, yeah, I'm willing to try that. So, you got to try those things, you got to have different things. And, it's always good to ask somebody for it. So
I used to go to the gym, man. It's probably been over 10 years now that I was a member of this gym, and I liked it because it forced me to go there. Even though it was kind of far from my house, like half the battle was just having the motivation to get to the gym. But I was hitting it like 5 days a week, man. I got jacked. Like I put on a lot of muscle. But to your point, as far as like making friends and stuff like that, I made a lot of friends going to that gym. And I know for a fact, because I've gone through it, and I'm sure you've gone through it too. And this is kind of advice for people that haven't or are hesitant or maybe have a little anxiety about starting up in the gym. Like the first 2 weeks, you're always like, you're nervous. You're shy. You don't know what to expect. You're self-conscious. But like once you do it after 2 weeks and you get more comfortable with it, it's a lot easier to get that motivation to go to the gym. Like it's just becomes a routine.
Right.
And I dealt with that. I dealt with the self-consciousness and just being afraid and people, being afraid that people are looking at me and I'm not knowing what to do and I'm not doing something right, and looking like an idiot. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And that's how you get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people too, they get there and they start working out, and even in them 2 weeks, they don't see no results. So they kind of are like, well, why am I doing this? Why do I want to keep doing this? And I'll tell you what, I didn't see results for probably the first month and a half, and then I started to see results, and I think that's what it makes you want to continue to do it, because it's not something you're going to see overnight. Anything you do you're not going to see overnight.
Right.
Unless you're playing the stock market or playing the lottery and you got the right number and you just won right away, that's the only way you're going to see overnight. But, a lot of times it takes time. Just like running a business, it takes time to get to that point to where you're very successful. And I feel like you got to be consistent. You got to keep going in and doing what you can do to be able to do that. So if you're going to go in and do calisthenics, go do calisthenics every day for, and try to do it for 6 months. And I'll tell you what, in 6 months, you'll see a big difference. I feel a lot better myself, and I know I look a lot better than I did before. So to me, I'm going to keep going until I get to that point where I want to be comfortable. And I am comfortable now, but I feel like I still have some more to go off. So, JC, when you were going to the gym, did you ever feel like, I've heard this a couple of times from watching some of these gym guys, like when you're working out that you don't feel like your body is disformed. So you got to keep working out until your body gets the right form.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going in and working out just because in your mind, you're like, well, I'm still deformed. I can't get to that point where I want to be at, I want to be jacked. So I want to be this way before I stop, but then you're like, but if I stop, is my muscles going to go back down? So then you're like constantly doing it because your brain's like, my body's deformed. I got to keep working at it to get it the right way. So did you ever feel that way? You said, yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I think that's the way you should feel, because that kind of gives you that motivation. It's like that positive reinforcement that you're going to get to where you want to be. But dude, I felt that way every time I worked out. And then I was like, man, like I'm still not where I want to be. And I never felt that I ever got to that point. And then when I stopped and years later, I looked back as to what I looked like when I was working out. I'm like, holy crap. Like I was where I wanted to be. I just didn't realize it, Right. But yeah, man, it's one of those things, like you said, especially not seeing results in the beginning, and you might not ever really notice the results, but people are going to start complimenting you. People are going to start like pointing it out to you, or, like saying, hey, wow, you look different. You look younger, and you might not get it, but you're doing something right,
Right. Yeah. I think you got to keep at it. It's all about consistency. And if you guys have ever looked at a lot of my posts, it's more about consistency, and you got to continue to do that on a daily basis, just with like anything in life. And I think we all have consistency in certain things in our life and stuff we slack on. And I feel like that's one of the things you got to do is start at one point and just keep going at it. So
I know, like my biggest challenge was actually like meal prepping, and having like, eating 3 times, more than 3 times a day, but just having those meals, bringing those meals to work with me and just preparing it. I don't like cooking, and I get lazy when it comes to that. and right now I kind of eat like once a day. I don't
Right.
really eat a lot, which I should be. It's kind of weird, right? Like I'm saying that, but I don't mean like junk food. I mean like
Right.
I should eat, healthy meals, more consistently throughout the day.
I think that's one of the things is like you don't realize it when you're working out that you got to eat more. Especially if you're doing bodybuilding, it's more of like you got to have the right amount of protein. You got to have the right amount of calories and carbs and macros and all that stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Mm.
And I think it comes into it when you start working out and you're not eating the right or not eating enough. You kind of feel down too, and you kind of like, oh man, I feel worse than I did when I wasn't working out. So then you stop too, So I think there's a lot of factors why people stop or, feel like it's not working for them. So, they got to change stuff up and just not do it anymore. So, but, I give it to everybody that's out there. And if you are out there working out, continue at it, continue to be healthy and continue to, trying to be stronger, being jacked, um, to me, I'm just trying to get healthier and be a little bit more jacked than what I am now. So, I'm not trying to be a strong man, but them guys are strong. Watching them at a couple of events, like, I mean, I'd love to see them guys lift some, the skid steers. I'd love to lift a skid steer, but I don't think I can do that. So,
Dude,
you
you're
know,
gonna laugh, man. And a lot of people laughed when I told them I was doing this. Remember when P90X was huge?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I bought that, and I was doing those workouts, and people were like, "Ah, you're an idiot. You're doing P90X." Like that. That program works, and that
right.
program is not easy. And if
Oh
you
yeah,
do that right, and you do it the way you're supposed to do it, it kicks your butt, man.
oh yeah,
That definitely works. And
yeah.
it's
There's
funny because that was going on. That craze started happening, and that was kind of like a little competition between P90X and like the CrossFit world, because CrossFit started like getting into gear with that. And I don't like to do what most people kind of gravitate towards. I like to kind of be on my own and do my own thing, but or be different. But I tried that P90X. I still have it actually, and it's rough, man. If you ever get a chance to do it, man, or try it, yeah, it's no joke.
I've heard it's rough, dude. I really did hear that it was rough, and I tell you what, dude, some of the stuff, like push-ups, I've been trying to do a couple different things. Like yesterday, I did mountain climbers with it, and then I don't know if you've ever seen "Bring Sally Up," that song, which is a military thing, dude. That is hard as hell, dude. And I'll tell you what, you you try a lot of things, and sometimes you just gotta try it and keep going at it, especially if it's hard, dude. Like you said, it can really help you out in the long run. So, like, man, I'll
Hmm.
tell you what, these programs are not easy sometimes, but you got to keep at it. Definitely keep at it, guys. Um, okay, so we're now into 2026. So, Jensen, do you have any goals for this year that you want to get done? Because I know last year's it's gone. It's gone. It's literally gone. I hope you got your goals done that you wanted last year. Um, what kind of new goals do you got that you want to get done this year?
Most of my goals are repetitive, because a lot of times it's like I fail at those, or there's always room for improvement. So um, last year I stuck to my budget pretty decent, more so than I've done before in the past. But there are some things that this year I kind of want to improve on with my budget. I want to been saving some money, so that's another thing too. I want to kind of increase my savings, be able to like kind of invest in the future in the long term. But yeah, most of my goals kind of remain the same. Eat a little healthier, kind of be outside more, even though, that's kind of what we do is working outside, but in a different aspect. And I don't know. I want to, I want to, I want to be able to do more activities, because I usually tend to stay home a lot on my days off, and I don't really do too much. Right now, I'm kind of working on my car, which is, a hobby. So maybe I'll tend to do more stuff like that next year. So as far as like a specific goal, I don't really have one. I'm just want to improve the ones that I've already been doing.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there is. I
Mm.
think we all have room to improve, and I think any way you can take a goal that you have already had and try to improve it's going to make it better for you in the long run. It's just like anything you do in life, you start something and have a set goal on what you want to do, but you need to adapt it as you go on throughout life. Even just like a business, it's like you're always adapting your business. You're always changing things to make your business better and bigger, or better and more successful, or better and more profitable. There's always different ways you want to go on your business. And I think by, even improving on a goal and saying, okay, this is what I want to do in 5 years. I'm going to change that up, now that I'm like 6 months in, and, adapt and go on farther. I think that's always good for anybody in business or anybody in life, really, because how else are you going to survive if you're not adapting and changing your goals,
Yeah.
and we're improving on them. So,
not every way of doing things works for everybody. Like
No.
sometimes the trial and error, you have to figure out what works best for you. You might be like, hey, I'm going to try to go to the gym, and maybe that doesn't work out for you. And then maybe doing your own workouts at home is a lot more achievable for you, and gets you to stick to something. Or starting off walking instead of running. A lot of people make the mistake of like jumping in too deep with something right out the gate. They go out to the sporting goods stores, buy their workout gear, the new sneakers, and then like they go in and they try to hit hard. Next day they can't move. And that kind of right there will keep you to, it'll make you not want to go back to the gym. Anyways, I think I'm here, but I don't know if this is still live. So I'm gonna check with the Instagram crowd and see if there's anybody that's kind of been watching. Any questions? Hey, Scott, what's going on, buddy? You back?
In third place.
So I'm checking to see if anybody's on the chat. I am by myself. That's awesome. I had no idea that was capable of doing it. No, I'm the host now. You could go back to where you were. Dude, I didn't realize that once your camera goes down, the chat, the podcast is still live.
Yeah, we're still live.
No, but when you go, I thought you're the one in control of it. So when your camera dies, I'm still on. That's kind of cool.
Well, I have two computers running. So literally I have one that controls everything. So literally I don't know what happened with the other one, but the other one decided to take a crap.
Yeah, so I was saying that people tend to like, go 1,000% on their first day of the gym, and they wake up the next day and they can't move, and that could kind of like create that false sense of like, man, this is too hard for me. And you got to start slow, man, with everything.
I think so. I mean, I think going, I see so many influencers that say jump in head first and just go at it. And I feel like you even in our businesses like us in the green industry, it's you don't want to jump in like grabbing the biggest mower right off the bat and saying, I'm going to go for that 50-inch mower. I'm going to go with the bells and whistles. I'm going to pay $500 a month. I'm going to get me my trailer that's, all decked out. You don't want to jump in like $80,000 in debt and just have two accounts. Literally, you don't. You want to start out with like a 20-inch. You want to start out with like a homeowner mower, maybe not even a trailer, just try it out slowly. And like you said, it's better to go slow into it and work your way into it instead of saying, just like with me with the push-ups, I started out with, just doing a couple a day. It sucked at first, but now I'm doing 26 a day, like literally so far for 11 days straight. You literally got to go at it. It took me, last month I was doing 20 a day. I'm working my way up. Maybe next month I'm going to be doing 36. You never know. But hopefully by the end of the year, I'm up to like maybe 50 a day. And that's my goal, is to improve on, just like you have goals to improve on. I think that's one of my goals, is to improve on how many push-ups I can do, how much weight I can push, how fast I can walk on the treadmill. It's all about improving yourself and going from there. And,
Absolutely.
I think, going slow at it is the best way than to jump in it, head first and just be like, yeah, I got this. I'm gonna head straight in and put all my savings into one basket. No, you don't want to do all that. You want to take your time and take it little by little. I mean, look at me. I've been in business 30 years. This year I make 30 years. I started out with a 20-inch and a weed whip, and I've worked my way up to work more equipment. It took me, I would say I didn't really own my own big piece of equipment for, I want to say like 4 or 5 years before I actually owned my own big piece of equipment. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't brand new when I bought my first piece of equipment. It was used. It was a used walk behind mower. It was a used weed whip. It was a used blower. It was nothing new. I didn't buy new till probably I was about 7 or 8 years into business. So you got to look at things when you start the business or start anything, is to go slow and take your time, because I think that's the best thing you can for anything in life. So,
yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
People rush. People want that instant gratification.
Yeah. I don't think it's worth doing that. I think it's worth, taking your time, and, I think it's hard, because, it's hard, especially when you want to do something. And I tell a lot of these guys, there's a guy I know right now that's literally, he's doing, he's working for a company and he wants to start his own. And I said, dude, you got to take it time. You got to take it little by little. Like, you can't just jump into it. I said, you got to take it little by little. Start out with a couple customers, try to keep your area small. Like, I've learned over the years, like, you don't want to be driving all over that place. You want to be kind of smaller and work your way out from there. And I started the opposite way. I went all over the place just to get jobs. And, after a while you get used to, like, well, I'm losing time by driving from point A all the way to point B instead of staying in point A. So you got to learn that right off the bat when you start, certain businesses. So
it's crazy, because I think I was guilty of it myself too. And you have to learn as much as you can prior to jumping in, because you don't want to find, like you said about buying all that equipment, you don't want to jump into a situation and then have to be forced to learn it. I mean, there is something to say about that. But also too, like, people that have been in this industry for a long time that actually go out there and work and are really good at what they're doing. They're good at, the hedge trimming. They're good at the mowing. They're good at all these things. Just because they're good at that doesn't mean that you're good at the business end of things. You might have zero understanding of how to run a business, but be the greatest landscaper that's out there. And just because you have that skill doesn't mean that your business is going to do good. You have to learn, or get a mentor, or ask someone that that runs a business, and try to go to like programs or seminars and the right ones, and learn like, how to organize a business. And then that way, once you learned as much as you can without doing it, then that's when you go into the field and give it a try and learn as you go along throughout the years. But yeah, a lot of people make that mistake. I did too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people, it's one of the things like we've talked about before. It's like, you want to take every job you can, especially starting out. You want that job. You want that, you think about that income, and is that, or the money that, like, some of these guys say, cut that grass, make that cash, that's what they think about, is like that. And, it's good to do that, but it's more, I feel like in the long run, over the time, I've learned that it's easier to concentrate on an area to where you're getting seen more, because every time that person sees you drive by in that neighborhood, they know that that's what you're there for. So eventually, if they want your services, they might get older and say, hey, I want to have somebody do my services. I see, this guy across the street, he's cutting them. They've been cutting them for 5 years. Maybe it's time for them to come over here and give me a price, and that's, you get that better by doing that. So even if you start in a couple neighborhoods and say, I'm going to do a couple neighborhoods, it might take you a couple years to build those neighborhoods up, but it might not. Mm-hmm. So why not try and just know a couple neighborhoods and then work your way from there? I feel like our business now is in a, like I've said before, our business is probably about 10 miles from our shop, and we're probably 15-mile radius after that. So literally, we're not that far from anywhere else that we do. But 90% of our mowing clients are all within a 5-mile radius.
That's
And I
good.
think that's what you need to have is very condensed, very easy jobs that you can pull out and knock out quick. And I think that helps you in the long run, especially if you're a business, especially if you're doing other services. If you're doing tons of services, it helps you on a lot, because I'll tell you what, when you're spending 30 minutes to drive from one job to another, you're going to realize like that 30 minutes I could have been cutting somebody maybe 2 minutes down the road from where you're at from the last job. And a lot of these guys that have been in business for a long time will tell you that too, is like consistency of condensing into one area is going to make more profit for you in the long run. So I think that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. Because I think that you can safely say that there's two types of people that get into the landscaping business.
Oh yeah. All right, let's go.
There are those that, have been doing it on their own, and then they jump in and start their business. And then there's others, most of them are people who work for a landscaping company, gain experience, and then go off and open up their business. Maybe I said two types of people. There's three types of people.
Three, yeah.
The third type of person, I don't think I see too much of that. Maybe you see more of it than I do. But the third type of person to me is someone who works for a company, keeps that job, and then does their own thing on the side, little by little, maintaining their job. And then once they get comfortable with doing their side business, landscape, and then they go and open there. So they gain that experience of like starting off small with their business. Do you see a lot of that, or do you see guys just, leave and then start their own business?
I see a lot of people working for a company, and then starting their own business. I see a lot of guys that aren't in the green industry that, might be doing plumbing, might be doing heating, might be doing factory work, and then want to start into, landscaping, mowing, and doing it part-time, and they're using it as a supplemental income, or they want to be a business, but they don't want to jump headfirst like we were talking about earlier. They want to take their time and actually gain the customers. And that's something like I did. I literally worked for a company, for years before I literally went full time. And I'll tell you what, guys, I think it's one of the best things that you can do, because if you can work for a company, and not only if it's hard in green industry, to work for a green industry company and run your own business, because when you're doing mowing too, because a lot of times a lot of companies frown on it because they worry about that you're going to steal their customers from them right then and there. And I'll tell you what, I worked for a company that literally, I do fertilization. So literally I worked for a fertilization company for about 4 or 5 years. And I had to sign a contract saying I would not steal any of their customers when I left. And literally had to sign off on it, had literally a 2-year window before I could even approach any of their customers. And it's one of those good things that you don't want to do that, because it literally, I feel like it's definitely going to hurt the other business. But it was a bigger fertilization company. Wouldn't have hurt them at all. But why do that? It's out of common courtesy to say, okay, I understand that, not a big deal. And I think I've had guys work for me before that wanted to start their own thing, and I said that's fine. Just do it on the weekends. Don't approach any of my customers. And when you leave, you can approach them if you want, but they've already seen what kind of work we do at my company. They're not going to want to jump just because you worked for me for a little bit and wanted to do it. It's there's a lot more that me and my guys provide than just one person can provide.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's true. Because a lot of people worry about their their clients being taken away from them. It's, could be cutthroat. Bad enough when you're already competing with another company outside of that. Now one of your guys that goes off and opens up a business is taking your territory, which is kind of messed
Right.
up. But back to the someone working for a company and then doing their own thing on the side. You see that a lot with mechanics. Like I get a buddy who's a mechanic, and he works at a shop. He's an employee there. He's not an owner, but he'll do things on the side, like repairs on the side for other people. And it's kind of funny because his boss lets him use the shop to do that.
That's good, dude. Actually,
Yeah, on the weekend, on a Sunday, he's like, yeah, you want to use the shop and do your thing. He doesn't care because he's kind of like, if there's a bigger job, then the business could take it anyways, or I don't know. I just guess he trusts him a lot more because there's only so much one guy could do, So
Right.
if he's going working on his own car, or if he's working for some of his friends and families, I think that's okay. He
Right.
thinks it's okay, so that's why he lets him do it.
Yeah, I think I think mechanics are a different thing, especially like that, because it's like you said, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to take over, changing out this engine, at my own house. You're going to want somewhere to do it. And if you don't have a shop, you're not going to want to be, someone's not going to be like, oh, I'll go to you for cheaper to change out my engine, but it might take 2 weeks for me to change it out because it's at my shop, compared to, going to a regular shop and being like, okay, we can have it done in 2 days, so I think there's a lot different there too. So, yeah. But,
What about, would you ever let an employee borrow your equipment to do jobs for themselves, but with the understanding and the trust that they're not going out to steal your customers, they're going out seeking new customers?
I have done that in the past. And I feel like there's a thin line of it. You got to have, I've never let them borrow everything. You see what I'm saying? Maybe if they're doing a cleanup and they wanted a blower, I'll let them do that. But it comes to a point where I feel like you got to have a good, solid contract, or employee agreement or employee handbook that says, this is what it is. And you can do that, but sometimes you gotta give them that, tell them like, hey, if you're not going to be doing this, constantly, maybe if they're just doing it for their parents or their, maybe their girlfriend or, their in-laws or something like that for the weekend, I can understand that, and I can be like, okay, yeah, no problem. But if it comes into a constant thing, it's like, you don't want to be like, yeah, sure, you can use it every week, but I was kind of, I hate to say it, but the first company I worked for, when I wanted to start my business, the owner let me use his equipment. So literally, but then I had to work for him still. So literally I did stuff on the side for him on the weekends, literally that we didn't do during the week. And then he let me use the equipment. So I think there is that line that you can do it, but you got to watch what you're doing. And like you said, you got to kind of get to that point where you're making sure that they're not going to steal your business. They're not out to steal your business. That they're going to try to do it. Maybe they're trying to do it in a different area that you're not working in. I think that's one of the things that, to me, some of the guys that worked for me were doing it in a different town. So it's not like I'm going out to that town to do work. So it's like, okay, if you're going to go over there, that's fine. That's not where I want to be at anyways, so that's fine. You can go over that way and do that work. So
I don't think that happens too often, but I think, like you said, it's more so like, hey, my in-laws need this. Can I borrow the
head trimmers, or the hair, something that they don't have, like, you don't have a big backpack. Hey, I need to blow my in-laws off. Okay, go ahead. Bring it back when you're done. Let me know when you're coming back to the shop. I'll meet you at the shop. I'll lock it up. So there is that thing. So I think there's a positive thing to it. And then there, sometimes it can be a negative because, you don't want to give it to some employee that you don't really know. Maybe he's only worked for you for a couple months, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And then they just don't show up, so you got to kind of watch that too. So,
let me switch it up on you and ask you this other
Okay.
question. So this is more for like really big companies, you know,
All right.
if you have crews and stuff like that. We have a minor league baseball team in nearby, and what I see is a lot of like, not a lot, but a few contractors or whatever bigger companies. They'll have like season tickets to the games, you know, and what they do is, you know, obviously the owner can't always go to the season tickets, you know, to every game. So what he does is it's kind of like an incentive. He'll gift a couple tickets to some of his employees, you know, as like, you know, hey, take your family out to the ball game per se, you know, and it's just kind of a nice little perk or a nice little way of showing your gratitude to your employees. Like, have you ever done anything like that?
I have you know, how do you say this? I have done that before. I used to work for a company when I did work for a fertilization company. That they used to do that all the time. They used to have once a year, they would pick somebody and say, "Here, we're going to gift you, you know, this much tickets, you know, to a couple games." Also, too, they had where they gifted you a vacation for a week.
Oh, wow.
You know, that was pretty much, they took pretty much whatever, how you were putting into the work wise. So if you were constantly there daily, you were putting in, you know, 100% every day. You were not having that much callbacks on jobs. Your retention rate was high. There was so much about it to where you had to be at a certain high level to get that, you know, the week vacation. I got kind of beat out a couple times on it, but literally it was, you know, to somebody that definitely needed that vacation more than I did. So, you know, it wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, I need that. But, you know, I got recognized throughout the United States for a couple different things when I worked for that company. So it wasn't really like, you know, oh, I need that vacation, you know. It was like, I'm already getting recognized, because there was like 3 of us that got recognized for different things throughout the United States. For
And it doesn't have to be anything big. Like you could have, like, for example, let's say I'm a business owner, a big business owner,
right.
and I buy a pair of season tickets for, you know, the minor league baseball team. You know, I could like say one weekend, hey Scott, take your wife to the game. Here's some tickets. And the next week, hey Josh, here's 2 tickets. Take your daughter to a game.
Right.
You know, and just adding those little things like that. It doesn't have to be, you know, a vacation per se, but, you know, just a little like kind of, you know.
I think it's a good extra perk. You know, it's a good pick me up for the guys to say, hey, you know, here, go, like you said, go ahead, take your wife out, take your kids out to the game, you know, have a good time. You know, it's not only on me and the business, but it's for you to have to relax, you know. So it's not like you're not losing out by doing any of that stuff.
I know. I think Josh, what he does is he gets his guys like new gear once a year or something like that, like boots or something. I don't know. He gets them something.
He gets them a vest. That's it, a safety vest. That's all he gets.
Used.
Not on here to say anything. So, but yeah, I think you got to do something for your employees. I mean, they do a lot of work for you. You know, even if you're not there, like I see a lot of guys that are owners that they're just not around in the business that much. So it's like, if you're not giving them back something, you know, give them something throughout the year. You know, give them, you know, I go ahead and buy my guys pop every once in a while. I buy them water. You know, I buy lunch, you know, at least once or twice a month. I'll just go out and buy lunch. I think it's one of the things you can do to say, hey, thanks, guys. You know, not even, you know, give them a bonus here and there. You know, say, hey, you know, I seen you're doing real good here. You know, I bought you your favorite snack, you know, your favorite drink, you know, something to give them, you know, good, you know, morale. Literally, it's going to help you out in the long run. Yeah. You know, your guys aren't going to be like, oh, well, this guy's a dickhead. He doesn't pay me nothing hardly. And, you know, I see him eat steak every day, you know, for lunch. And here I'm out there busting my ass, you know. So give it back. Give back to your guys if you can. I feel like it's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
that. So, I mean, if you want to give tickets to me for a basketball game or a baseball game, hey, I'll go with you. How about that?
Man, let's do it. I want to go. I want to go back to Chicago, and I want to watch a Cubs game, so that's maybe something in the horizon.
Well, I mean, you never know. They might be Super Bowl champions this year. Chicago Bears.
Oh, the Bears?
Yeah, they might be Super Bowl champions.
I lost my fantasy league Super Bowl, so the season for football is done for me.
Season for football is done. Come on,
it is.
It's not done. We still
That's
got
all
like
it is.
I don't know, a couple more weeks.
That's
So-
all the season means to me is my how well my team does. Once I'm out of it, I'm out of it.
So
Yeah, time
where
for
did you end
baseball,
up?
man. I ended up second place out of 12
Oh.
guys.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's good. Really good. Really good.
Who's the running back for Atlanta? The what's his name there? Benjamin? I don't know, whatever. But he
Benjamin Button.
annihilated me. I was up by 19 points. I almost won.
Yeah.
And he had the running back for Atlanta going, and I think he scored like in the vicinity of like 45 points, like fantasy points. And I'm like,
Wow.
I had no chance.
Jeez.
Hurting. Sucks.
Yeah, it does, dude. It does. Let's see here. I'm trying to look it up. Robinson?
Robinson.
Bijan Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bijan. Yeah, he screwed up me a couple
Destroyed it,
times.
bro. He crushed my dreams. That guy. I'm watching the game. I'm like, this guy's a ball hog. Like he's the entire team. They're not doing anything else but giving this guy the ball.
Right. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I was doing good at the beginning of the year in fantasy, and then Lamar Jackson getting hurt, quarterback, he just kind of screwed me. So then he didn't want to do nothing else after that, and my points sucked. So I ended up into 10th place. So I mean, it kind of sucked this year, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You get that time.
And I was in the Super Bowl last year too. So I'm now known as the team that chokes.
Dang, Johnson. Oh, you got to get changed up next year.
Back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, and I blew both of them.
Yeah, you're like some of these other teams.
Mm.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't. You're gonna have that moments in basketball and football and baseball where shit doesn't go the right way. So, what are we gonna do?
The Super Bowl gods, the fantasy football gods don't want me to win. I get it.
I don't blame you. The guy that's in our league that won this year, he's won the last 2 years on top of this year. So he won 3 years in a row.
He's a jerk.
So it's like everybody was like, beginning of the year, he's like, oh, I could go back to back to back. And towards the end, it was like, really? Like, you went from 4th place to winning it? Come on. Like, seriously? Yeah. It's a rough one, guys. It's a rough one.
That's my New Year's resolution is to win this year.
I think it'd be a good thing to win, dude. I think you will win. You never know. It's one of those things that it's hard to pick the right people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm always looking at people at the beginning of the year, and then when it comes to draft time, it's like people I have figured out for the beginning end up getting picked before me. So it's like, shit, what am I going to do now? And then you just start picking people.
Or you just get unlucky and all you guys get hurt.
Yeah. Or they get suspended for spitting on somebody, and you're like, really? Like, you had to spit on that guy? Like, what were you thinking? You just lost me 50 points next week. Like, come on. So it's one of those things that it's hard. But you know what, guys, you gotta go out and have fun. That's the best thing you can do is have some fun when you're playing fantasy football. So, okay, so okay, I got this real good question for you. This is a real one, JC. What's your favorite Dorito? Here we go. This is off the wall.
I don't have one.
You don't have a favorite Dorito?
People are gonna probably crucify me on this. I don't eat Doritos.
Jeez,
what a way to crush your question, right? I made your question completely irrelevant. I was like, yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite chip? There you go. Do you like Ridges or do you like flat?
So, all right. let me go back to your original question. I
Okay.
don't eat Doritos. I have had Doritos.
Okay.
And I'm probably gonna say just a regular cheese one.
Just a regular nacho cheese.
Yeah, probably that one. But as far as my favorite chip, oh man, I'm gonna sound like I'm 80 years old, but I buy unsalted potato chips.
Unsalted potato chips.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I
That's
just I,
fine.
I I don't like how the salt overpowers the chip.
Yeah, I feel like there's certain chips, yeah, they put too much salt on. I agree with you on that. I feel like some that are unsalted or even lightly salted are 100% better than just regular potato chips. I agree
And
with that.
I love homemade potato chips. Like you go to a burger joint, like a real restaurant burger joint, and they have like the homemade potato chips. I just like those better.
Yeah.
Uh,
I agree
what about
with
you?
Uh, well, chip wise, I mean, I don't mind Doritos. I don't eat a lot anymore. But Doritos are, it's like sweet chili is more of what I like, the sweet chili one. And then literally, I like these chips out of Michigan. They're up from the UP. It's called Michigan Potato Company. And they literally have a cherry flavor one. And dude, I love that one over
Cherry
anything.
flavored potato chips, huh?
Yeah, because it's pretty much they literally pull them right off the cherry trees up there and make them in and crush them into the potato. So
Wow, that's
yeah.
different.
yeah, and
Let me-
I mean the chips are the red, and you think they're red potatoes, but they're not. It's the dye from the cherries that's worked into the chip.
I want to take back my answer.
All right,
So
let's hear it.
I'm thinking about it now. There is a taco flavored Dorito.
Yes, there is.
Uh,
Do you like regular taco or do you like the loaded taco?
I
There
have
is a
had the loaded taco. I've tried the regular taco.
I like the regular taco if you're eating like taco salad. Like if you're using taco salad and you put up the chips and crush them up on it,
Yeah.
like I like the taco on that, like because it gives you that little bit of like taco flavoring too on top of it.
Hmm.
You should try that when you're doing try like what do they call that? Oh, I can't think of what they're calling it. We and my wife have it all the time. Oh crap. So literally what you do is you take like the small bags of Doritos, and you cut off the top and then you put the taco meat in it.
Oh yeah, I've seen people do that online.
Yeah, and the lettuce and all that and all your toppings in it. And you like mix it all around and then yeah. I forget what that's called.
Isn't that like jail food? Don't like. don't
Yeah,
they do
yeah,
that?
we eat jail food. I mean, we eat ramen all the time. So come on. I mean, you got to have your ramen every day, So I don't know.
Yeah. So they make a loaded tacos Dorito.
Yeah. It's called I think it's Midnight. I think it is Midnight flavor or something like that. Loaded taco. Let me see here.
Yeah. For those that are listening, and Josh is not here, but Josh is a Funyuns and Red Bull kind of guy.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And I can see him mixing it up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Late Night. They're pretty much they're compared to a Taco Bell's Crunchy Taco or Crunchy Supreme.
Interesting.
Late Night Loaded Taco. There you go.
I do like Taco Bell.
Yep.
I do like Taco Bell.
Yep. So there you go. See if you want to taste Taco Bell's tacos.
A
Right
regular
there, you gotta
taco
go.
from Taco Bell.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll be fine with that.
Mm.
I'm fine with a regular taco. Do you remember we were talking about this the other day, me and my wife. Do you remember when tacos were like literally a quarter?
Yes.
And now it's like you go in there to get a taco, you barely get any meat, and it's like almost $2. And you're like, really?
They were cheap, man.
I remember going there and getting like a 5-pack when I was in high school and like, oh, $1.25, sir. Okay, here you go. That was the best, dude. That was the best. I'll say that much. I miss that time when they were cheap like that. They should go back to being cheap one time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still the cheaper option for fast food, but like,
Right.
I mean, it's so good, but especially like, I'm not a drinker, but when I used to drink, it was so good, like sober food, just eat that.
Yeah. Late night. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. See, there's a lot of things. Ricky came on on podcast over on Instagram. He says it's a walking taco. There you go. That's what we're talking about. Where you take the bag and you cut it up and put everything. Walking taco. Yes, that's good. He said ramen's good too. Yeah, Ricky, ramen is good, man. Depends on
I've seen that. I've seen that online where people like go up to like a food truck and they bring their own bag of chips. And, like,
Yes.
the food truck guy like does something to it. I don't know.
Yeah, he does the same thing. He makes a walking taco out of their bag of chips. Dude, and I've seen some that bring like the extra large bags, like the extra large, and they're like, here you go. Like, you think of how much meat that's in that and all that? Like, there's no way I can eat that in one sitting. I mean, some of these people, there's no way they could eat it in one sitting. Definitely not.
Do you know Subway was doing that for a little while? They were opening up bags of Doritos and like putting like toppings on it and then toasting it and then like selling it. Like it was, I don't think it lasted long.
No, I think they were doing that with Cheetos too for a while, like Flaming Hot Cheetos too. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things, especially Subway. Subway likes to change their stuff up every 6 months, which kind of sucks. But yeah,
I've never had a Flaming Hot Dorito.
No,
Never.
you gotta try it. You gotta try it.
Good?
Yeah, it's really good. I'm telling
Is
you.
it hot?
Yeah, it's hot.
No, but I mean, like, is it like really hot?
Hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hotter than hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd enjoy that.
It depends on how hot you like stuff.
I don't.
Something you wouldn't like it.
But I like Taco Bell's hottest sauce, which is not hot.
No. Well, the fire sauce?
Yeah, it's not hot.
No, it's not hot. No.
I don't think there's one sauce from Taco Bell that's hot, but the chips are different, you know.
Yeah, chips are definitely different. Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I don't know. There's so much that like people say are hot, but then they're not hot. So, yeah. What about? Okay, here we go. So, what? Okay, you said a taco is your favorite thing. If they didn't have tacos, what would you eat at Taco Bell?
What's that, like Crunch Wrap or whatever?
Oh, okay. Crunch Wrap Supreme.
You know, it's funny. We were just talking about like the gym and working out. Now we end the show with junk food. So anybody that was like motivated before like we started today, now like we're making them quit.
Don't quit, guys. Don't quit the gym. We're just talking about it. So when you're walking right now, you're thinking about eating some tacos afterwards.
No,
so the healthier thing to do, guys, don't go to Taco Bell, okay?
We did
you're
the opposite of what we intended to do today.
That's right. You're going to want to go to the health store. You're going to get the healthiest Dorito shells or whatever you can get, and you're going to go home and make your own meat, okay? You want to get some like 90% lean meat and go home and make your own tacos, okay? Don't go to Taco Bell. I know it's cheaper. Like Jensen just said not too long ago, Taco Bell's cheaper, but don't go there, please. Don't break your diet because I said Taco Bell, okay?
This turned south. We were all like fitness-wise good, you know, doing this, motivate yourself. Then we're talking about Funyuns and Doritos and tacos.
Hey, that's what we do around here. We make everybody happy and funny, okay? That's how we do this show, okay? We got to end good. But all right, guys. So it's been a real good show. Jensen showed a lot and talked about a lot of stuff. Thank you, Jensen, for being on again and talking about so much fun stuff. So
always, brother.
Now you just changed. Everybody wants to go get Taco Bell. So, you know, that's
I'm sorry.
Can't believe you.
I'm sorry. I let everybody down. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being on. Continue to listen to us over at Spotify. Up in the corner there, it tells you where we're at Spotify. And we're all on. You can watch us on Landscaping to the Point on the podcast. You can watch us here on YouTube, Landscapes by Acme, or just hit us up anytime. We're definitely willing to throw your guys' input and comments up on the podcast. We want to hear some of your stuff. And thanks to our sponsors, Cujo Yardware, Pro Parts Direct, and Awesome Candle. And maybe next week we'll have some tacos that we can eat on camera or something.
Tacos and treadmills.
Yeah, we'll talk about treadmills and tacos. You never know what's going to happen on that one. All right, guys. So we will see you all next week.